We have received a lot of new information about Fortnite Season 4, and although the teasers have been very confusing, it finally seems like it's all coming together. A few days ago, this red crescent was sent around to different Fortnite content creators. With the main build up to next Fortnite season being centered around a lunar eclipse, I was like, okay, this makes perfect sense. It's the incoming object that Sloan's been talking about in the quest, and the shadow of the object is covering up part of the sun. Like, I really thought I understood what was going on here, but after looking a lot further into it, I realized now that I was way off. I presumed that the logo was showing us a lunar eclipse about to happen. Once the shadow fully covered what I thought was the sun, then the blood moon could arise, which I mean, it does make sense. But I've come to another more convincing conclusion that I'm about to show you. In this extremely low budget animation of the eclipse, you can see the cube cradle passing between the sun and the moon to cause the blood moon. Then the shadow of the cradle partly covers the full blood moon, making it appear in this crescent sort of shape, which lines up perfectly with the teaser. But there's still one problem. The cube cradle isn't confirmed to be coming. There's actually a big debate right now in the story community as to whether the ice moon or the cradle will cause the eclipse, and today, in this video, we are going to find the answer. Something I'd like to point out initially is that the shadow on this image is not accurate to what is approaching the island. The cube cradle has all its spikes around the edges, so it isn't a perfect circle, and the ice moon had a chunk torn out of it, so it definitely isn't a perfect circle. But this right here, in the teaser, it looks pretty perfect. What I'm assuming is that Fortnite is showing us a vague silhouette, so it isn't a dead giveaway of what's coming to the island, which makes a lot of sense, but it also makes the theory job just a little bit harder, so we just gotta work with what we've got, and what exactly do we know so far?
It's not a natural cosmic phenomenon, and it's coming our way. With intent.
Now, whenever that line gets brought up in the debate, many say that the ice moon arriving to the island is not technically natural because it involves magic. In the comics, the Ice King said that he brought his ice moon to the island, which, yeah, it's not a natural process, but that's not what Sloan is saying. If you look closely into her dialogue, she says that the incoming signal is not a natural cosmic phenomenon. Not that the eclipse is unnatural, but the signal itself. That means the object approaching the island is not organic, and I would argue that the ice moon as an object is pretty natural. Now, she also says that the object is coming our way with intent, and if you want to know what that intent is, subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the video so far. But back to this coming with intent thing. The object coming to the island with intent sounds to me like someone is bringing it here with a certain goal in mind. That someone most likely being a member of the Last Reality, who I bet on being Triarch Nox, as he wants to surround our island in darkness and stop the daylight from reaching us. If you weren't already aware, the Triarchy story continues this season, telling us the stories of Nox, Aurora, and one other unknown member of the Triarchy. A recent skin survey shows a character that many are suspecting to be a member of the Triarchy, but if so, what is its name and how does it tie back to all of this story? Well, Triarch Nox's name comes from the Roman goddess of night named Nox, and Triarch Aurora comes from the Roman goddess of dawn named Aurora. So we've got one Triarch representing the night or the darkness, one Triarch representing what happens just after night being the dawn, so I'd say it's pretty safe to assume that the process right before night is what our third Triarch will be based around, most likely dusk. Following along with this name theming based on Roman mythology, the Roman god of dusk is named Astraeus. So Triarch Astraeus could be this skin, or this skin, or this skin, or really just any skin, but I promise you there is a point to this. Earlier I mentioned how the object coming to the island isn't natural, and that Triarch Nox's plan is to stop the dawn. Stopping the first sunlight of the day is something that he could most definitely achieve with the eclipse. If he is the one behind the eclipse, it makes total sense to me that the cube cradle will be the thing to cause it. It's almost like Triarch Nox and the Last Reality made a deal, where if they cause the eclipse, he leads their cube cradle to the island, and they can both benefit from it in the end. So I think that's this teaser all solved for now, which means we're on to the next one, which we can actually see in game, so hold on. Sorry, am I just hearing things, or?
Never back down, never give up.
A recent video has surfaced from Nick30 on Twitter, and it is really odd.
Someone stole something from my stream room, and I just realized, so we have these Max 830s that one's usually sitting right there. We have a bunch that are usually up on that fireplace right along there. And I see this sign right here with that symbol. It says, "Thank you for the addition to my collection, Kado Thorne." I started up Fortnite just now, literally, and I saw, "Are you in August 25th?"
The most recent teaser for Fortnite Season 4 simply just shows the date of release with a red background and laser overlays. What came into mind first for me was like a bank robbery scene from a movie where the enemy is dodging his way through lasers to steal something. But so far, we don't really know who that enemy stealing from us is or who stole from Nick-A30. So what if instead this mysterious character is actually on our side? Behind the Eclipse image that was sent to Nick-A30 when he was stolen from sat a small note that was sent from Kado Thorne. By the looks of it, they are the one behind these mysterious heists, and we might eventually join in because the teaser asks, are you in? But what if I said this goes far beyond the teaser and that the story of Kado Thorne has been building up for a while now? If you think back to the very beginning of the plot for this season, you might remember some weird sort of quests that we had to do to find the chalice. I'm of course talking about the snapshot quests, and although each set of them does seem kind of disconnected, they do all have one thing in common. In questline 1, we are tasked with finding an artifact made by the cubes that is buried deep within the jungle. The artifact was brought here by an ally of Triarch Nox, so we give it back to Aura, who tells us this: I will get my contact to seal away the chalice of Cube-tastrophe. Without a wheeler, it is powerless. And in the next set of quests, we hear something even more interesting. Even though questline 2 was really weird as it focused on the coral buddies, Triggerfish noticed that these buddies had disappeared and he told us to go off and investigate. When you ask Turk about what's been going on, he says we're definitely not selling those coral buddies to a wealthy collector. To top all of it off, the third quests were all about Sloane's discovery of the apparatus and more specifically realizing about the eclipse. That same lunar eclipse was then teased in a note that is sent from Kado Thorne, a wealthy collector whose role in next season is most likely to attack the Last Reality and sabotage them by stealing all of their powerful weapons. From dialogue that occurs when Dahlia speaks to Aura, I get the sense that Nox's plan was basically to set up the island for the Nothing's arrival. Nox would get his allies like Dahlia and Styx to place dangerous artifacts like the chalice in secret places around the island, and when the cube cradle arrived, it would cover the sun, stopping the dawn of Triarch Aurora and causing the eclipse. The cradle completes Nox's plan, and it also allows the Last Reality a direct path to our island. Once they'd invaded, they'd be ready to activate the chalice and destroy the island. But the issue for them is that we've already found it and returned it to a wealthy collector known as Kado Thorne. Will this cause some sort of more direct conflict between us and the Nothing? Maybe the final live event of this chapter will see us heisting powerful weapons from the cube's cradle, but who knows? I guess we'll see as it all unfolds and the blood moon rises on August the 25th.